That is why I arrange things, so that you cannot attend those conferences. In a single moment, I will bring you to know more than others will acquire through many years of toil. Every soul, and especially the soul of every religious, should reflect my mercy. My heart overflows with compassion and mercy for all. The heart of my beloved must resemble mine. From her heart must spring the fountain of my mercy for souls, otherwise I will not acknowledge her as mine. Do not fear, I'm with you. You see, I can give you everything in one moment. I'm not constrained by any law. Know, my daughter, that in one moment I can give you everything that is needed for the fulfillment of this task. I have eternity for punishing these, and so I'm prolonging the time of mercy for the sake of sinners. But woe to them if they do not want to recognize this time of my visitation. My daughter, secretary of my mercy, your duty is not only to write about and proclaim my mercy, but also to beg for this grace for them, so that they too may glorify my mercy. I will not give you the grace to reveal yourself to someone else, and even you did bare yourself. I will not give that priest the grace needed to understand you. At this time, it is my desire that you put up with yourself patiently. My daughter, it is not my will that you should tell everybody about the gifts I have granted you. I have entrusted you to the care of the friend of my heart, and under his direction your soul will bloom. I have given him light to recognize my life in your soul. My daughter, when I was before Herod, I obtained a grace for you, namely, that you would be able to rise above human scorn and follow faithfully in my footsteps. Be silent when they do not want to acknowledge your truth, because it is then that you speak more eloquently. Know, my daughter, if you strive for perfection you will sanctify many souls, and if you do not strive for sanctity, by the same token, many souls will remain imperfect, and the greater part of the responsibility for these souls will fall on you. Do not fear, my child, but remain faithful only to my grace. In one moment, I can give you more than you are able to desire. I have wanted to exalt this congregation many times, but I'm unable to do so, because of its pride. Know, my daughter, that I do not grant my graces to proud souls, and I even take away from them the graces I have granted. These efforts of yours, my daughter, are pleasing to me, they are the delight of my heart. I see every movement of your heart with which you worship me. Do not be afraid, my daughter, it is my will that you should remain here. Human plans will be thwarted, since they must conform to my will. Why are you afraid to begin the work which I have commanded you to carry out? My daughter, even though you do not perceive me in the most secret depths of your heart, you still cannot say that I'm not there. I only remove from you the awareness of my presence, and that should not be an obstacle to the carrying out of my will. I do this to achieve my unfathomable ends, which you will know of later on. My daughter, know that without doubt, and once and for all, only mortal sin drives me out of a soul, and nothing else. My daughter, my pleasure and delight, nothing will stop me from granting you graces. Your misery does not hinder my mercy. My daughter, write that the greater the misery of a soul, the greater the right to my mercy. Urge all souls to trust in the unfathomable abyss of my mercy, because I want to save them all. On the cross, the fountain of my mercy was opened wide by all the lance for all souls, no one have I excluded. All this is for the salvation of souls. Consider well, my daughter, what you are doing for their salvation. Know, my daughter, that your silent day-to-day martyrdom in complete submission to my will ushers many souls into heaven. And when it seems to you that your suffering exceeds your strength, contemplate my wounds, and you will rise above human scorn and judgment. Meditation on my passion will help you rise above all things. From all my wounds, like from streams, mercy flows for souls, but the wound in my heart is the fountain of unfathomable mercy. From this fountain spring all graces for souls. The flames of compassion burn me. I desire greatly to pour them out upon souls. Speak to the world about my mercy. My daughter, delight of my heart, it is with great pleasure that I look into your soul. I bestow many graces only because of you. I also withhold my punishments only because of you. You restrain me, and I cannot vindicate the claims of my justice. you bind my hands with your love. I desire that during these 9 days you bring souls to the fount of my mercy, that they may draw therefrom strength and refreshment, and whatever graces they need in the hardships of life, and, especially, at the hour of death. On each day you will bring to my heart a different group of souls, and you will immerse them in this ocean of my mercy, and I will bring all these souls into the house of my Father. You will do this in this life, and in the next. I will deny nothing to any soul, whom you will bring to the fount of my mercy. On each day you will beg my Father, on the strength of my bitter passion, for graces for these souls. Today, bring to me all mankind, especially all sinners, and immerse them in the ocean of my mercy. In this way you will console me in the bitter grief into which the love of souls plunges me. Today bring to me the souls of priests and religious, and immerse them in my unfathomable mercy. It was they who gave me the strength to endure my bitter passion. Through them, as through channels, my mercy flows out upon mankind. Today bring to me all devout and faithful souls, and immerse them in the ocean of my mercy. These souls brought me consolation on the way of the cross. They were that drop of consolation in the midst of an ocean of bitterness. Today bring to me the pagans and those who do not know me. I was thinking also of them during my bitter passion, and their future zeal comforted my heart. Immerse them in the ocean of my mercy. Today bring to me the souls of heretics and schismatic, and immerse them in the ocean of my mercy. During my bitter passion they tore at my body and heart, that is, my church. As they return to unity with the church, my wounds heal, and in this way they alleviate my passion. Today bring to me the meek and the humble souls and the souls of little children, and immerse them in my mercy. These souls most closely resemble my heart. They strengthened me during my bitter agony. I saw them as earthly angels, who would keep vigil at my altars. I pour out upon them whole torrents of grace. Only the humble soul is able to receive my grace. I favor humble souls with my confidence. Today bring to me the souls who especially venerate and glorify my mercy, and immerse them in my mercy. These souls sorrowed most over my passion, and entered most deeply into my spirit. They are living images of my compassionate heart. These souls will shine with a special brightness in the next life. Not one of them will go into the fire of hell. I shall particularly defend each one of them at the hour of death. I myself will defend as my own glory, during their lifetime, and especially at the hour of their death, those souls who will venerate my fathomless mercy. Today bring to me the souls who are in the prison of purgatory, and immerse them in the abyss of my mercy. Let the torrents of my blood cool down their scorching flames. All these souls are greatly loved by me. They are making retribution to my justice. It is in your power to bring them relief. Draw all the indulgences from the treasury of my church and offer them on their behalf. Oh, if you only knew the torments they suffer, you would continually offer for them alms of the Spirit, and pay off their debt to my justice. Today bring to me souls who have become lukewarm, and immerse them in the abyss of my mercy. These souls wound my heart most painfully. My soul suffered the most dreadful loathing in the Garden of Olives, because of lukewarm souls. They were the reason I cried out, "Father, take this cup away from me, if it be your will." For them, the last hope of salvation is to flee to my mercy. My daughter, during the weeks, when you neither saw me, nor felt my presence, I was more profoundly united to you than at time, when you experienced ecstasy. And the faithfulness and fragrance of your prayer have reached me. He is a priest after my own heart, his efforts are pleasing to me. You see, my daughter, that my will must be done, and that which I had promised you, I shall do. Through him I spread comfort to suffering and careworn souls. Through him it pleased me to proclaim the worship of my mercy. And through this work of mercy more souls will come close to me than otherwise would have, even if he had kept giving absolution day and night for the rest of his life, because by so doing, he would have labored only for as long as he lived, whereas, thanks to this work of mercy, he will be laboring till the end of the world. My daughter, be always like a little child towards those who represent me, otherwise you will not benefit from the graces I bestow on you through them. My daughter, I'm always with you. I have given you the opportunity to practice deeds of mercy which you will perform according to obedience. You will give me much pleasure if, each evening, You will speak to me especially about this task. My daughter, the moment you enter the gate I set a cherub over it to guard it. Be at peace. My daughter, do you think you have written enough about my mercy? What you have written is but a drop compared to the ocean. I'm love and mercy itself. There is no misery that could be a match for my mercy, neither will misery exhaust it, because as it is being granted, it increases. The soul which will trust in my mercy is most fortunate, because I myself take care of it. My secretary, write that I'm more generous toward sinners than toward the just. It was for their sake that I came down from heaven. It was for their sake that my blood was spilled. Let them not fear to approach me, they are most in need of my mercy. My daughter, write that it pains me very much when religious souls receive the sacrament of love merely out of habit, as if they did not distinguish this food. I find neither faith nor love in their hearts. I go to such souls with great reluctance. It would be better if they did not receive me, and I thought of you before I called you into being. Jesus, in what way were you thinking about me in terms of admitting you to my eternal happiness? If it hadn't been for this small imperfection, you wouldn't have come to me. Know that as often as you come to me, humbling yourself and asking my forgiveness, I pour out a superabundance of graces on your soul, and your imperfection vanishes before my eyes, and I see only your love and your humility. You lose nothing but gain much. Do as much as is in your power, and don't worry about the rest. These difficulties prove that this work is mine. Be at peace, so long as you do all that is in your power. Yes, my child, I'm replacing myself with your spiritual director, Father Andres. He is taking care of you according to my will. Respect his every word as my own. He is the veil behind which I'm hiding. Your director and I are one. His words are my words, my daughter. The blessings of the poor who bless me as they leave this gate have reached my ears. And your compassion, within the bounds of obedience, has pleased me, and this is why I came down from my throne, to taste the fruits of your mercy. Daughter, I need sacrifice lovingly accomplished, because that alone has meaning for me. Enormous indeed are the debts of the world, which are due to me. Pure souls can pay them by their sacrifice, exercising mercy in spirit. I know, my daughter, that you understand it, and that you do everything within your power. But write this for the many souls who are often worried, because they do not have the material means with which to carry out an act of mercy. Yet spiritual mercy, which requires neither permission nor storehouses, is much more meritorious, and is within the grasp of every soul. If a soul does not exercise mercy somehow or other, it will not obtain my mercy on the day of judgment. Oh, if only souls knew how to gather eternal treasure for themselves, they would not be judged, for they would forestall my judgment with their mercy. My daughter, you have not offered me that which is really yours. Daughter, give me your misery, because it is your exclusive property. At 3 o'clock implore my mercy, especially for sinners, and, if only for a brief moment, immerse yourself in my passion, particularly in my abandonment at the moment of agony. This is the hour of great mercy for the whole world. I will allow you to enter into my mortal sorrow. In this hour, I will refuse nothing to the soul that makes a request of me in virtue of my passion. My daughter, this retreat will be an